So this project is a memorial build for the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women, or as it's often abbreviated, NDRAVAW. There are about 8 of us, and this is a build that's all women-led. We usually try to do something centered around the number 14 to acknowledge that there were 14 women's lives lost in this tragedy. This year, the kind of idea behind the build is a memorial garden, and still incorporating that number and the symbolism of white roses that are often associated with this event. We had a central stained glass feature featuring the white roses that we designed, and that was something that I was working on illuminating.
Each year the build looks a little bit different, but the students will come together and will kind of brainstorm discussing what the event means to them. I'm always in awe each year of what people come up with and what they're able to contribute to a project like this.
The build is a very public installation and where it's usually placed, and so I think that's really good for inviting people to walk into the build and see what students have worked on, and there's obviously usually a plaque that will explain what happened and why this is here. My high school had a ceremony every year, and so I was actually involved with that back in high school. But then once I came to U of T, I saw the build that students had done, and then last year there were some other women that I knew that were involved and invited me to come help out with the build, and so I was able to get involved with the electrical side of things. So as an ECE student, that's been a great way to apply those programming, electronic skills.
We really value the opportunity to be able to put something like this in a very public space that the community can interact with. I love opportunities to be creative. I love the fact that this is an artistic installation, but there's also very technical skills involved in making it a reality, and I think that's what makes it such a unique project.
December 6th is very personal to me. I was a student in chemical engineering at the University of Toronto on December 6, 1989. And I was in absolute shock when I heard the news. As a student, I was getting ready for exams, hanging out with my friends, and just living a regular life. And then all of a sudden heard the news that for some reason, because I'm a woman and I'm studying engineering, that I should not be here. There was quite a lot of anger around women in engineering representing feminism and feminism being a bad thing. And I believe we have to keep remembering to support feminism and to support the rights and abilities of women and non-binary individuals.
I first heard about the events of December 6th when I was a teenager, probably 16 or 17. Growing up, I was very fortunate to have a lot of great positive female role models. My parents are actually both engineers. My mom was a student when it had happened, and I remember her kind of telling me about how she felt that day and how that experience was a pivotal moment because it changed her perspective on her place within engineering. It's really great to be able to work on a project like this because it allows you to kind of process some of the complex feelings that you have about your experience being a woman in engineering, but also to talk with other students about maybe some of the issues that they face.
It's obviously a quite solemn, reflective time to think about the events that happened and how that affects the community today and how much we've progressed since 1989, but also how much progress there still is to go.
So 1989 was quite a few years ago, and I sometimes ask myself the question of, do we still remember? What does it mean to us today? I really do truly believe that it is important to have 50% women in engineering, because when you are only a few in a room, in many cases, we won't fully participate because there are some intrinsic feelings and self-doubt and maybe just structural environment that will hold people back. Women made great progress in engineering up until the mid-2000s. And then all of a sudden, there was a little less focus and things started to slip backwards. We had less women coming into engineering programs. And I'm actually really happy to share that U of T Engineering in this fall has 43% women in its first year class, and that's a first. And so that just shows that the progress is happening and that we can get to 50%.
One thing that a lot of female engineers face is the diminishment of our technical skills. It's challenging because it might look a little bit different than what this discrimination might have looked or felt like in the past. It's not as easy to kind of have a conversation and unpack these things when it's maybe an attitude or maybe a comment. It does weigh on you, right? Especially when you're trying to challenge yourself technically, trying to challenge yourself, emotionally, to be the best and, most educated version of yourself you can be. I've been very fortunate to be able to kind of seek out spaces that are very accepting and very supporting. This project is a shining example of that there are, it's very much women supporting women, women championing these skills and achievements of the other women kind of within our little group organizing this.
It's a really good opportunity, especially for people that might feel more comfortable working on a women-led project, that they can have that space and have a leadership role where they don't feel like they are challenged based on their gender.
I know I am going to feel vibration in my body, some sadness, I'm sure, some warmth of community, and some comfort, almost like a cozy blanket, is I think what I'm going to feel, because that's what I feel almost every time I attend a December 6th memorial. And I hope that others will feel the same thing and sit with that for a moment. I'm also going to feel very proud. I'm very proud of my experience as a U of T engineering student. It was very positive, and I'm so proud of the 8 student women leaders who are building this memorial for this year, and all the people who have participated as well.
It's great to take a step back and reflect and kind of celebrate the work that has been done by so many amazing female engineers to bring us where we are today, but I don't think we can stop here. I think it's very important that students continue to stand up for themselves, stand up for what they believe in, and contribute to projects like this that are meaningful for the engineering community as a way to continue that conversation, and hopefully for future female engineers the experience becomes more positive and more supportive.
There is still discrimination faced by women in engineering, and that it's something that we need to acknowledge and we need to discuss and we need to work on. Women aren't the only gender minority in engineering. There are obviously a lot of non-binary students, trans students who find this day very meaningful. When you're a gender minority in engineering, it's so important to find those communities and find those people that you click with and that will support you. And I think getting involved with builds like this is a great way to find that community within engineering and feel welcome.
I think community is everything. Ensuring that every student at least has one connection into community at U of T Engineering, I think that that's so important. I don't want to see anyone isolated and alone. And that is just going to make each of our experiences so much better, because we will feel that we're part of something else, people notice us, people care about us, we're valued. And once we feel that, we can do anything.
This memorial garden was created to be a safe space for the community to feel grief, fear, and anger on and around December 6th. We ask you to reflect on the history of Ecole Polytechnique tragedy and its impact on the engineering community, as well as the continual need for change. As female engineering students, we want you to know that you are not alone in feeling othered, frustrated, or exhausted. We cannot change the events of December 6th, 1989, or the response of the engineering community thus far, but we can change how we act moving forward. Sexism and misogyny upholds a culture of violence. We must work to dismantle oppression, create a culture of respect and consent, and eliminate the gender gap in engineering on community and institutional levels. Support women, support gender diverse people, and listen to those around you who voice their concerns. Stand up against discrimination wherever it persists, and we can continue to move forward. Ultimately, we hope our memorial garden helps you understand and reflect. This bill demonstrates the efforts we can take as a community and the role of allyship to uplift women. To create change, we must uplift and amplify the voices of women and gender diverse individuals, focusing our efforts to create equitable spaces for everyone who faces gender-based discrimination. The change needed Institutional and societal change can only happen when we work as a community, where the actions taken come through individual efforts. We urge you to seek resources and to learn actions you can take to support women continuously seeking to grow. Our strength lies in community. Thank you all for joining us today.